Welcome to Politics Unplugged. I'm Ann Trujillo. We are just a couple days away from the primary election, the biggest decision of all for Coloradans. Who will be our next governor? Nearly 600,000 voters have already returned their ballots, and this week we got a chance to learn more about the men and women who want the state's top job. Now, on Monday night, the 4 Democratic candidates for governor debated right here on Denver 7, and I was one of the moderators, and we covered everything from campaign finance to clean campaigning.
Jared, do you have to be a millionaire to win the race for governor?
I sure hope not. You know, most of the people up here are probably millionaires. I know a couple of them have put their own money in.
I want to come back to the earlier question of the other millionaires on the stage, because I'm not sure who that was, but I'm a school teacher and a school principal, so I think I wouldn't be getting those Wells Fargo notices if I were a millionaire.
If you didn't have all these out-of-state donors, I wouldn't have needed to put in my own money to keep up with you.
How many of you believe you and your supporters have run a clean campaign?
Supporters? I think this is a differentiating conversation about why I'm running for governor, okay? Because I'm not a professional politician. I'm a workhorse.
I condemned the negative tactics publicly. I publicly called for those groups to stay positive, and the ad has come down.
Well, then on Tuesday night, the 4 Republican candidates took the stage, and among the agenda items, gun control and their relationship with Donald Trump.
I'll take it on an issue-by-issue basis. If something impacts Colorado negatively in the economic future of our state, I'll stand up and let Washington know about it, regardless of who's in charge.
I think my demeanor is obviously, I think, a bit different. I have a different style than him. But fundamentally, we both believe that this government is too big, too intrusive.
For me, it would have had to have a lot more dialogue, a lot more teeth to it to understand that it was dealing with mental health and not taking away the rights of gun owners.
I think there should be more due process protections for that person that is accused in order to speak up and bring witnesses. And 2, I think the group that could bring a charge was too broad. That needed to be narrowed.
Well, we have asked Democratic strategist Steve Welchert and Denver Post columnist Krista Kafer here to talk about the upcoming primary. So welcome back to the both of you. And I know you watched both debates. Did anybody stand out for either one of you that maybe surprised you in some way?
I thought Mike Johnston did great in the Democratic campaign, debate. And he was smiling, he was at ease. But you know what, I actually thought all 8 did a very nice job. They were calm, they were respectful. Maybe the people at the federal level could learn a thing or two.
But to flip the script, as the Democrat, I thought Victor Mitchell was much better than I anticipated him to be as well. I think Vic did a nice job, held his own, and showed that he could compete with Walker Stapleton.
So no surprises during the debates. I fully expected that we would see some attack moments. That didn't really seem to happen, did it?
No, it was very collegial, except for the little funding tiff where you had Mike Johnston, who has received a lot of out-of-town donors, and Jared Polis, a primarily self-funded candidate. They shook it up just a little bit.
It's the silliest part of the debate for my money. The voters don't really care. All they want to know about is the last mailer they got, the last ad they saw. It's a superfluous argument. They should have been talking about the kids on the border, DACA kids, Trump. They missed a lot of really big opportunities to talk to real Democratic voters. Yeah,
because I wondered if it was a strategy to not go after one another just because of what we're seeing in Washington. Do you think? You
know, perhaps. But I think this whole dust-up about the ad is really kind of goofy. I mean, the truth is, elections are about issues. And if you can't talk about the disagreement you have with your opponents about an issue, I don't know where we're going to be in politics. It cripples the nominee at the end of the day, I think.
Well, I don't think funding is a big deal either. If you've got money and you're willing to put into your own campaign, or if you're getting outside buy-in or inside buy-in, people that believe in your message that want to fund you, I don't think that's that big of a deal. I like the fact that they were collegial to each other. I thought that was nice, and I like the fact that Kerry Kennedy admitted to snoring. I thought that was quite charming. But Robinson's admission that he has gas at the table, a bit of a TMI.
That was too much. I mean, you can be collegial and still disagree on policy. I think that's part of the discussion we ought to be having. They're going to have it a lot in the fall, that's for sure. So polls to this point show that it will be a Polis-Stapleton race.
Maybe.
What do you two think?
We have this strange poll, Western Journal poll, but it's self-selected. The numbers seem a little odd, but it shows Victor Mitchell up a couple of points.
And aside from the poll that he's obviously shopping around, I've talked to some Republican folks out in the community who think that it wouldn't be a shock if he pulled off the upset on Tuesday. So we'll have to wait and see. Stapleton certainly is the odds-on favorite. On the Democratic side, I think Polis is running away with it at this point. I think, look, if you're Kerry Kennedy, in our business, if you're explaining you're losing. And she explained at the debate the other night, she's explaining every week about put her hand up and hand back down. I mean, those are bad moments for a candidate to have.
Is he a little too far to the left, though, is my question. And I say this as somebody who likes Jared Polis as a person. He's a good person, but he's a little left for Colorado.
I think you're going to find in the fall campaign, you're going to see him really be a libertarian, which is his true colors. I think he's a libertarian on many, many topics, whether it's guns or marijuana or any number of areas.
Yeah, but when you're talking about funding, having, 100% renewables, that's actually scientifically maybe not possible. Right. So there's some big spending in his plans that is hardly libertarian.
That's probably true.
So, Steve, you're a Democratic guy. So looking at the Republican race, what are you seeing there?
Walker Stapleton is having a hard time getting unhinged a little bit or untracked and really talking to folks directly. He's still sound bites and not really connecting in my view. And I think, frankly, in both campaigns, lack of passion. I'm not seeing passion from any of these candidates, of any of the 8 of them.
Because it feels like they're just playing it straight.
Right.
I mean, just trying to not rock the boat.
Right.
Is that what you're seeing?
Well, at this point in the campaign, you don't want to both ways bob the other people, right? So if you are too hard on your primary opponents, you could end up ensuring that the other team wins come November.
So is there anything the underdogs can do in these last couple of days to change the outcome Tuesday night?
As much money is getting spent in this campaign, which is breaking all records that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Voter turnout is abysmally low. Now, that's partly because newspapers are kind of going sideways. TV watching with advertising is not where it's always been. And the candidates aren't really developing a passionate message on either side. And it was always going to be more of an election day kind of turnout. But boy, we're going to have a big weekend, but it's not going to be that big a weekend where turnout's going to get back up to 40%. We'll be lucky to hit 30%.
What about the unaffiliated voters? I'm an unaffiliated voter. I like the fact that I was able to weigh into the process. Is that going to tip the scales, though?
Have you got much communication from one side or the other?
Not much. Maybe they think I'm a lost cause.
Well, at this point in the process, it looks like unaffiliated might be worth about 10% of the turnout. And that's not unusual in my view. I think it'll take 2 or 3 cycles for unaffiliated to kind of understand what they're doing. And
well, sure, we've already heard about some confusion within just the whole voting process for some unaffiliated.
2 ballots at the same time.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
So, any predictions you two want to make about Tuesday night?
You're probably right. It probably is going to be Stapleton, Polis. They're both good people, and it'll be an interesting fight come November.
If it's not Stapleton, Polis, we'll have big headlines on Wednesday for sure.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. And then maybe the race will really get interesting, right?
Yes, indeed.
Steve Walchert, Krista Kafer, thank you both so much. We'll be right back.